Alrighty, folks, I want to know from you, which title do you think is better? We're talking to Cody Davis, how he retired at 23, or how did Cody retire in 5 years? Both are true. He started at 18 and was done financially free at 23. Cody, obviously, this journey is amazing. It is much quicker than the decade I tell most people. So let's talk about how you did it and how others could as well.
With duct tape and bubble gum. The first time. Talk about speed, right?
Yeah.
You do. My idea was done is better than perfect, and so I got it done.
Yeah.
Now I am perfecting it a little bit better.
Well, I think that's cute. I think all of that you can get a chuckle out of, but I do think there was some blocking and tackling things that you did that set you up for success.
Mm-hmm.
Most importantly, and again, part of this is helpful because you started at 18, you were a single man, you didn't have any financial responsibilities other than yourself. So where I'm going is you kept your monthly nut really low, right? I think even at 23, I think I remember you saying you lived on $2,000 a month. Was that true or am I off?
Yeah, no, that's accurate. I did not live on a lot. Eventually I got the expensive apartment and the car payment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So after I started doing okay, I got it was like a $2,500 a month payment with utilities, and ended up being close to like $2,700, $2,600, somewhere in there. And then I got a $600 and $670 a month Tesla payment.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have that anymore. Thank goodness. Right. I also don't have the rent. So, I made it, and then I kind of went backwards. And, sometimes you got to go backwards to go forwards. But I kept my expenses really low. I stacked assets. I didn't splurge on the come up. And every time I got money, I threw it into more assets. I didn't go on trips. I didn't do materialistic things. So that was a huge part of how I got here.
Yeah, and again, so you kept the minimum low, and again, that's why I'm so fun that you're going to be, or honored you're taking the leadership of talking to the teenagers at our event in January, because again, I tell them all the time, if you can keep your monthly expenses at $2,500, you can absolutely be done by 25.
Yeah,
it's just math. Sure. It's mathematically easier to replace 2,500 than 25 grand.
So when I was 21, I lived in someone that I just met. Like I didn't know them for very long. I sold him a duplex as an agent. And then I had gotten to know him. He was my age. He was best man at my wedding later. But I lived in a bedroom at his house hack. So he bought a duplex, VA, nothing down. He rented out one side, and then it was 3 bedrooms per side. He lived in one. He rented out both the other bedrooms. I was one of the other bedrooms. So I was living with 2 dudes, learning how to be an adult, driving a paid off 1991 Miata, and my rent payment was $500.
There you go.
Because I had a bedroom with no AC, second floor in the summer. Like, it's miserable. But right. $500. You do what you can. And so I didn't make a lot back then. I made more than I was spending. My total budget might have been like $1,200, $1,500 a month.
And that's where this all starts. And again, if you're listening to this and you're 33 or 43, the first step to getting wealthy is you got to create discretionary or disposable income. And what that means is you got to have money left over at the end of the month. And that money then becomes seeds for what Cody does next. And Cody ultimately becomes an elite investor. But you don't start become elite, but you get engaged, you network, you talk, you seek out owners. And your world, that meant seller financing. And, you did that in in a small market, and you just took people to lunch and coffees, and pretty soon they were selling you stuff, right?
Yeah. And I looked over every deal, not just in my market. I looked at every deal in Washington on the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
And by deal, I mean duplex, triplex, fourplex, and then the multifamily 5 to 9. And eventually I started looking at like the 10 plus listings, but I saw everything. If it was listed, I knew about it. Yeah. And the reason was I didn't own anything at that time. I wanted to know what markets are doing where's the cash flow at? Wasn't in Seattle, like not doing a conventional deal. So I started learning, and I learned how to underwrite. Is income greater than expenses and mortgage? Yes or no? Okay.
Mhm.
How about if I add in some CapEx? What are the fixes? Deferred maintenance? Yes or no? And uh, I started seeing the trends, and that's how I ended up in Central Washington. When I got started, you could buy stuff here. Granted, they were dumps, but you could buy them at 10 caps, 12
Hmm.
caps. And I didn't qualify for the 3% mortgages, and neither did these buildings.
Right. They
So,
wouldn't have financed. Yeah. They're not
yeah, so
financed.
they were seller financeable. And so I was borrowing at 6, earning 10 to 12. And that's how I was able to buy stuff, zero money down.
But again, let's go back to the blocking and tackling. So again, 18, you're inspired by a civics class or history class or whatever it was. You get a job as a realtor. You don't really do a lot there, but you make connections. You get committed. You keep your life cheap. You live in a one bedroom or a bedroom of a duplex with
Yep.
no AC. Then you start looking at everything. Again, I tell people, get a buy box, look at it every day. It's not that you're looking for a deal. You're trying to figure out, you called it a trend. I call it average. Like what's stuff selling for? Where
Mm-hmm.
does stuff transact? Where can I find value? Because once you can understand average, you really can do good or great deals. And then from there, you realize that Seattle wasn't it, and you just went out searching for a market that makes sense, ultimately finding a market that had 12 caps. And you planted your flag and you went to work.
Yeah, and I looked at other markets. I looked at Yakima, the armpit of Washington. I looked at Lakewood. I looked at Bremerton. I was going to house hack. There was a fourplex that had a non-conforming unit that, for the sales purposes, was storage.
Yeah.
They unplug the appliance, right? So I was
Yeah,
like, I'm going to house hack this, and I didn't qualify. So there was so many things that just I had ideas, and what I ended up happening, looking at these trends and figuring out what the average is I created a buy box. I created an opportunity zone for myself of, if I see this, I'm going to push for it. And if it doesn't come together, like that one deal in Bremerton, didn't happen. There's another deal in Bremerton, didn't happen. I kept getting pushback. So I was like, okay, something about this just isn't working. Let me try one other thing. And I tried another market. And as soon as I had success, I just doubled down. There was no point to keep trying Bremerton, even though I probably could have made money. Let's just keep doing what's working until I hit the desired outcome. And then I hit the desired outcome, and I woke up and looked around and I said, okay, I did this, but my universe is chaos. This was around the time I met you. And from some productive conversations, I turned that ship around.
Mm-hmm.
And now I still have the assets, and it's a little bit less chaotic.
A lot less chaotic. Again, I want to just highlight, this is all repeatable, folks. Cody is special. His brain works a lot quicker than most of us, but there's nothing he did that's hard. There's nothing that's Cody specific. He lived below his means. He got disciplined, had a buy box, found a market that did work after trying markets that didn't work. He got proof of concept, and then he just doubled down. He kept going. The other thing I've done, Cody, I think I've done 30 portfolio reviews in my community, right? School community. And more than half the people get bored with whatever's working and try something else. And that's a recipe for disaster. Now, I know you have what I'll call a similar story, right? You were crushing it, and then this hotel or motel or whatever it was came across your plate, and you took a swing at that as well. That I think you can admit that was a mistake. Yes? No?
That was definitely a mistake. And I wish I wouldn't have. But the thing is, I like to think about it as I put myself in a position where I could learn what all these disciplines are about. I don't have to take it at face value. I learned it. Now, I would encourage people to take it at face value. Like, you don't have to do this. But now I have a real understanding. It's like, this is why it works. And when people give me flack on the internet, I can be like, oh, okay. I don't even have to argue with them because I just know I'm right. I've been there.
Right.
And, I'm definitely not right about everything. I get a lot of things wrong, but I get to learn from them. Should I have lost $1 million to learn that lesson? Probably not. Did I? Yes.
Yeah. Losing $1 million is fun for no one, and losing it at 24 is really not fun, I'm sure. But again, it is so amazing to think you were inspired by a high school class at 18, and by 23 you were financially free. And the other thing that's impressive for me is you didn't rest on your laurels. In fact, this might be a reach for some people, but I like golf, so it resonates with me. You were kind of like Tiger Woods. What do I mean by that? I don't know if you guys know this, but there was a time Tiger Woods was winning tournaments, and he went on record saying he was going to change, he was going to completely rebuild his swing. And he didn't win another tournament for like 16 months because he was rebuilding his swing. But once he came back from that, he went on a historic run, winning like 4 majors in a row called the Tiger Slam. This is what I see you doing is you got to the finish line, you were good, but you looked at what you had and like, hey, I need to go, your words, go backwards just a little bit so that my foundation in future is brighter. And now you can just crush it with a lot less risk. Because the thing that you built initially was, I'll say it, risky. And now what you're on is just, it's rock solid.
Yeah, and risk is going to be different than what most people think, right? My risk wasn't necessarily most of the deals themselves. The risk was the fact that I had partners on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do a great deal with the wrong person, not a bad person, just the wrong person.
Wrong time, wrong
it
situation.
Doesn't work.
Yeah.
And you could do a bad deal with an excellent operator, and it could actually turn the deal around.
Sure.
But it's still hard. So the people you're working with or everything, the problem is the person that your partner is today, like, it could have a 180 tomorrow. They could have their spouse completely like paralyzed from an accident, and now they can't devote any attention to the deal.
Correct.
Right. And now you lose your money. So I had to turn that around, and that's where most of the risk was.
I agree.
And also I was buying stuff, truly no money down. And some of it was hard money. I borrowed, at one point I had $1.1 million at 18%.
$1.1 million at 18. Nice.
Yeah. Great. Right. I bought a deal for $373. This is one of my prouder negotiations, but I would never do it again. Bought it for $373. I got a loan on it basically at origination for $650, and it still made the payment. So that was cool. And that was at 12% or 13.5%. It was something stupid. And I was just doing those deals because I could, and I could get to the finish line, but it doesn't make it smart, right?
Right.
The market could have gotten worse.
Sure.
There's a saying, I saw it on Instagram when a guy, he was at the slot tables and he was like, time to get even or get even worse. Exactly. And I'm like, it could have gotten even worse, right? It didn't have to just go bad and then get better. So, learn from those lessons, always build off of cash flow.
Yeah. Don't
do negative cash flowing situation. It's not worth having an alligator.
No alligators.
If it merits a picture in your book, it's important.
the only picture in book number 1. Don't do that. That's fine.
And so for those who are getting started, you got to keep your disposable income up, keep your expenses down, stack for another day. And when you see an opportunity that fits what you're looking to do,
go.
Don't just sit on your hands. You actually have to do the thing. And one thing that I will say I'm proud of is, while I didn't have all the answers and I didn't do everything perfectly, I did it.
Oh.
And if I hadn't done it, I'd be working, I don't know where, Target. Like, I wouldn't have learned my sales skills. So I would have been doing something else, just less productive.
Yeah, there's no question what you've accomplished. And hopefully you've not taken any offense to any of this. I think what you have accomplished, and now with your lovely wife, Ashley, is truly legendary, amazing. You're going to be an inspiration for decades to come, because your story will always begin with, 18-year-old in a high school class, then retire, financially at 23. I just can't wait to see you at 33, right? A decade after financial freedom. What you, Ashley, and hopefully, knock on woods, by then, a couple of kids, what you guys are doing by then, you're gonna make Olivia and I look tiny. It's gonna be fun for me to watch.
It's gonna be fun to figure out along the way, right? Because there's gonna be a lot of stuff that I'm gonna encounter, and maybe it's at a different scale, but there's going to be situational things that I haven't been through yet that you have, and that being able to network and have a community. I mean, I think about like the school community, right? Like, having a community like that's going through all these different situations.
Yeah.
That's helpful. And so even if I may have a different zero amount than someone else, or someone has another zero than me, I can look at the situations and see the patterns from someone who's actually done it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the school community is going to be the thing I'm known for the most because, even today we've got over 550 people going the same direction. They're going at different paces and they're at different places, but they're all going the same direction. And there's just power in that, especially when people aren't holding anything back, right? This is a private community that you've got to pay to be in. So, people are giving out, the real stuff. They're not hiding things.
Yeah, it's less than 4 gallons of gas.
Yeah, 2 Starbucks coffees, right? It's kind of crazy.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So, so let's talk about you at 33, just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, 8 years from now, 7 years from now?
7 years, yeah.
We're going to blink and you're going to be 33. I'm going to be 60. Ouch. All right. That makes me feel old. But what does 33 look like for you, you think?
Something we'll chat more offline. I sent you my schedule of real estate.
Okay.
I texted it to you. We'll talk about it. But
okay,
what you'll see on there is pushing into newer and newer assets, bigger assets. So this year I got my first 8-figure asset. That is, that's not syndicated. I am 50-50 with a buddy on that one, but like I'm pushing into nicer, newer projects. And I think that the older stuff will fall off the schedule of real estate. The newer stuff will continue to thrive. And I mean, ideally, my wife and I, we would have had kids for a few years. We'll probably have a house in Browns Point or Gig Harbor or somewhere thereabouts, south of Seattle, outside of King County, and just enjoy life. And
that's a question I have for you. Let me ask you this. Sorry to stop you there. Do you think you will be doing deals at the same pace and the same rate at 33 that you're doing them today? Or do you think you get to some number and you take the foot off the gas a little?
I'll be doing more by doing less. And so like right now, because of the way that my finances are structured and I've got these past obligations I'm paying off that I've talked about, like all of my money goes into paying down debt. And so like my wife and I did the math. We've been paying off debt at like 32 grand a month or 33 grand a month every single month since we got married.
Damn, that's
which awesome. It's a lot, but someday we don't have to do that.
Yeah, that will not last forever. Yes.
And that's how I felt about the car way back when we got married. We had a car loan and we paid it off. I was like, I just can't wait to not have this payment. And we're chunking through these debts and we're getting rid of payments and we're already saving. Like our savings rate is thousands a month more than it was
I'm sure.
already just in the first 10 months of marriage. And you fast forward, that's going to be gone. And so to your question of if we keep scaling, it's like we will do less deals, but they will be better deals. And so rather than buying, having to buy a few 12 plexes to do burrs, to rip money out, to pay down these debts, we'll maybe buy like a 100-unit complex and it'll be built in the last 20 years.
Got it.
And we'll buy it from someone who's struggling that didn't put in the years and years and years of financial prep work.
Got it.
They're doing what I did in the beginning. And so we'll be there to do it because instead of paying down 32 grand a month of debt, we'll just be stacking that plus our current cash flow. And my wife will be retired. We have a clock that we said no later than. And so we have 3 years and 9 months. And when that's up, whether, if we don't feel ready by then, I don't know that we ever will. but that's like the drop dead date of, okay, you're good.
You're done. Yeah.
And, but I'd like for her to do that. And then we can spend time with kids and just be part of the community. Right. Like that's what it's all about. But right now it's just a push because we got like 16 or 17 months to pay off another $1.5 million. But it used to be closer to 2 million. So it's like, we're getting there.
That's right. You're actually seeing momentum. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Well, this is a lot of fun. Again, it's always fun to say you're financially free by 23. I actually like the fact that you did it in 5 years because I always talk about 10 years, but folks, Cody's always here. He runs the Gen Z accountability group inside school. If you want to, Gen Z plus, we're not only Gen Z there, but Cody, where can they find you?
Here.
Yeah, we're not ageist. Where can they find you?
Yeah. Cody Davis Business Adventures on YouTube, about to pass 2,000 subscribers. So that's cool.
Nice. Very cool. Well, go ahead and subscribe, folks. Get them over 2,000. That's a huge accomplishment. Thanks, Cody.
Appreciate you.